So part 2, we're going to talk about the initial planning of a WLAN or Wi-Fi system. So if this is a new construction, say a brand new building going up, then in a lot of cases you're the IT contractor, but there's a general contractor who's responsible for a building, the entire building, and the client hires you separately from the contractor, and your job is to just do the IT, or even possibly your job is just to install or design the Wi-Fi. And so you have to coordinate with the GC and with other subcontractors on site. And part of that means figuring out a schedule to install your wiring, install your equipment. You can't just walk in there and do whatever you want, because there are guys doing framing, there are guys doing electrical, there are guys doing plumbing. You can't all be in each other's way. So the other thing that you have to think about is on a construction site with a larger construction company, there are all kinds of policies. You have to wear a hard hat, you have to wear steel-toe boots, you might have to do a safety orientation, which could take you an hour or it could take 2 hours. You have to figure out like what your work hours are going to be. The general contractor may, let's say, you can only work from 9 to 5, so you know if you've only got 3 days and you got to work 9 to 5, you can't work late. Do you have enough time to complete the project? And all these constraints can cause delays or increase your costs, and you have to factor that in when you price this job out. So in many cases, not all, but it depends on the project and the drawings and the architect and the client. The GC may be responsible for installing wiring, conduit, raceways, network cabinets, that sort of thing, and he might subcontract it to his electricians or laborers. So you need to figure out who is responsible for that part of the project and work with them. And of course, some of them cut corners. It's a fact. Things that they've done besides like horrible delays and damaging equipment. I've had GCs not install wide enough conduit, or use a like flexible conduit that you can pull a cable through, not bolting things down, using a really cheap Chinese cable, not terminating the cables correctly. For the most part, electricians don't know how to run data cable, and so if you can't run your cable, or if somebody ran the cable for you and it doesn't work, that's going to make your job difficult. So how do you prevent that? Well, you need to be on site, and you need to be inspecting things during the construction phase and communicating with the contractors and with the GC and with the client. So, if something isn't being done right, you need to explain to people. It has to be redone properly. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Put everything in writing. That helps with your warranty in case there's a dispute later. So, you need to look at the blueprints, because in some cases, in many cases, the architect drew a building and he decided where every AP should go, where every network cabinet should go, where the IDFs are, where the MDF is. And they are not experts in designing a Wi-Fi system. Neither are electricians, neither is the client. So their locations might be just a bit of a guess, and you need to go over that and see if it's gonna actually work based on what the client needs. So ideally, you'll be involved in the project before construction even starts, maybe not. Otherwise, you're going to have to make some changes, and making changes is not always easy, because if you're not pulling the wires, or you're not installing the conduit, then the GC has to get his electrician and do that for you, and if it's too late and they already ran drywall and whatever, so that's going to cost more money, and the GC is not going to do something that costs him money unless the client is going to pay him the money. So